Hey guys, welcome back to Cara's Cakes. So today I'm going to be showing you how to decorate with royal icing. I put my royal icing on shortbread cookies, but a lot of people use sugar cookies as well. I baked the shortbread cookies last night, and today I'm going to be decorating them. So I'm going to show you the techniques I use to make the royal icing and give you the royal icing recipe. So the cookies are for a first birthday, and I'm going to be decorating some ones, some airplanes, and these are going to be clouds. And the colors are white, blue, and red. So I have my colors ready and all of my ingredients. And this is the royal icing recipe that I use. So this is from Sweet Sugar Belle, and it is a brand that you can find at Michael's. They sell cookie cutters and everything related to cookies. And these recipe cards came with a pack of cookie cutters, but this is the royal icing recipe I use. So you can screenshot here, and I'll also leave a link down below if I can find it, or I'll type it up and put it down below so you can have it. So I have all of my ingredients ready. This is the meringue powder. You can find this at Michael's as well, or Bulk Barn, or you can get it on Amazon, and I'll link that down below as well. But this is made with an egg white substitute, and it makes making meringue a little bit easier, and with the royal icing it's a little bit easier. You don't have to rely on egg whites. I don't like to use egg whites because I don't always have a use for the yolk. This can be a little pricey, but you only use a couple tablespoons of it, so I think it's pretty good. And these are the colors that I'm going to be using as well. So I'm going to walk you through step by step on how I decorate these cookies. So I got my little mixer out. This is the KitchenAid Classic. It's the smaller tilting head. It does smaller batches, so it's better for the royal icing. My bigger mixer is over there. You can tell that this one is a little smaller. It's the tilt head, where this one is the crank on the side. The first step is to gently combine the dry ingredients, so the meringue powder and the icing sugar, and I use a whisk attachment for that. So you're gonna combine the dry ingredients for a few minutes on the lowest setting, and then once they're all added together, slowly add the water and vanilla. So you're taking half of the water, so a quarter cup of water and the vanilla, and you're putting all of that in. It says at first the icing will be lumpy and thick, so you continue to mix, and while you're mixing you can add the remainder other quarter cup of water as well. You can see that it's kind of getting thicker. So now we're going to add the quarter cup of water a little bit at a time, just to make it a little bit more liquidy. And it says in the recipe here that you will want to add more water until it's a thick honey-like consistency. And you may not have to use the entire quarter cup of water. I'm just going to grab a spatula and scrape down the sides of the bowl. It can get a little bit dry around the edges because it's not incorporated. So if you just scrape down the sides, you can tell it's already pretty thick. I'd say it's already honey-like, and I still have a little bit of water left. So I'm going to add a little bit more, and then the next step is to turn the mixer to medium-high speed and whip for 2 to 4 minutes until thick and fluffy. So it did whip up for 2 to 4 minutes, and you can see that it is medium soft peaks, and that's kind of what you're aiming for. In order to flood the cookies, you're going to need a little bit of a thinner consistency like this. But I sometimes like to take cookie, so this is going to be a cloud, so I use all of the thicker icing to do all of the thin lines around the sides, just so it doesn't fall over the edge with the icing. You don't have to if you're really careful, but I want a precise line for the clouds around, so I'm going to do that. And you can see here that in the sun you can tell that there's bubbles here in the cookie. I'm going to show you a way to get rid of the bubbles. So you can see here there's a few bubbles in the cookies that I made. It doesn't really matter, you can leave them because you're going to cover them over with the royal icing. You're not going to be able to tell that they're there, but sometimes if you make such a thin layer, you can really tell that the bubbles there. But I'm gonna set this up and show you how I would smooth it out. So this is a fondant tool for cakes to smooth out the fondant. But I saw this online that you can just use this fondant cake tool to smooth all the bubbles out of the top of your cookies. And if you do leave little marks, that's okay too, because you're gonna completely cover this cookie up, and you can see that takes care of most of the bubbles. And you may just have to brush off your cookie, but now it's all flat and no bubbles. So again, my clouds are gonna be white, so I'm gonna start with those. I'm gonna do the thicker outline all around the cloud, and I'll get to these ones a little bit later. Another tip for your royal icing, while it's still in your mixing bowl, it's good to put a wet piece of paper towel over the icing, touching the icing, and it'll keep it dry and it won't create a crust on the top. So you can set that aside, and I have my white icing ready to go. I'm going to use this and pipe some lines around all of my cloud cookies. So I'm going to mix up some for the other colors, and we'll do the same thing. It's really simple to color this because it's so white, so I'm just going to put a little bit of this in a couple different dishes and make some red and blue to do the outline for the airplanes and the number ones as well. Okay, so now that the outline is all around the cookies, I'm gonna take the icing that's left and thin it out with some more water. And then I'll be able to use it to fill in the lines. Alright, so this is the mixture that I already had, and I'm adding a little bit more water to make it thinner. Just add a little bit of water at a time, because if you add too much, it'll be too runny. So I have the thinned out white royal icing in this bag, and I didn't put a piping tip in because I'm just going to be flooding the cookies. And then I have this tool here from Sweet Sugar Bell as well. It is from Michael's, and it has a little pointy tip at the end, and I use this to kind of swirl it around and pop the bubbles. Sometimes I tap the cookie like this to try to even it out a little bit. And then the bubbles do come to the top, and you can pop them. Okay, so the white is done on the clouds. Now I'm gonna mix up the red and the blue for the other cookies. Hey guys, editing Cara here. I realized I forgot to end off the video, but if you enjoyed this video, give it a big thumbs up and scroll down to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any new videos from me. Be sure to check out the description box, and I'll leave all the recipes and the different tools I use for these cookies. If you have any video suggestions, make sure to leave those in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching, and see you next Sunday.